Hi, Sue. How are you, darling? Lovely to see you.
Hey Ruth, lovely to see you too. Yeah, it's good to be back online because we had a power cut yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that big power cut.
Yeah, so that was strange experience. Suddenly having no power, no internet, no lights, which I know was challenging for some people in things like being on the metro or hospitals or traffic jams, lifts and things like that. But I was, quite fortunate where I was. But the strange thing about it was not knowing how long it was going to last for. Is this hours? Is this days? Is this weeks? So a bit
Mm.
of a reminder to be a bit more, prepared for these kinds of things.
Sure, sure, yeah. Because, yeah, I'm really fortunate to be off grid, but I know that would have really shook a lot. And yeah, well, I'm pleased you're fine and you're here now and we
Yes.
can do this call. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Likewise, lovely to see you.
You too, darling. So I suggested doing this interview because I have assisted and worked with you several times and always been around you in different circles and love you, absolutely love your vibe, love your energy that you bring. And I was like, I would love to know more about exactly what it is that you're doing. And I thought if I was to interview you, I'm sure there's loads of people that would like to know more as well. It could just be like useful, was the intention behind it.
Thank you.
So yeah, so as far as I know, you run different various trainings around all to do with healing and in the spiritual realm, in the plant teacher realm, and yeah, and I know you deal with trauma and you've written a book and there's just loads. So yeah, just tell me some things and I'll ask you questions as we go.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess my journey began with processing my own trauma and realizing that I was carrying a lot of PTSD, though I didn't know why. And so in able to, trying to get to the bottom of why I was having all these panic attacks and phobias and really very, very intense and difficult experiences, which, all the therapists I spoke to and doctors said it was PTSD, but we couldn't work out why. So that led me to want to heal myself. And, and in the process of that, I ended up training how to hold space for others, um, to help heal others from similar things. And I found that the things that were really helping me was the shamanic healing techniques that I'd learned and the energy healing techniques and sound healing, and also working with plant teachers. And this to me had been the one of the most potent containers and methodologies that have consistently helped me to have breakthroughs and to experience transformation over the years. And then by the time I came to being in my 49, I then started to remember this core wound that had happened in early childhood, um, of sexual abuse, and sadistic abuse from my grandfather. So then I went on a rapid healing journey myself with this. And everything really kind of fell into place for me in terms of being able to really heal myself and hold space for my own process, and then bring everything that I'd learnt along the way to being an even stronger space holder for others, and was very guided to weave it all together into courses that could train people in how to facilitate healing. And of course, part of that training is that they're receiving lots of healing along the way. So they're also receiving healing, helping people to come out of that victim place and to reclaim parts of their true essence that they've lost along the way, through life's challenges, compromises, and traumas. So people who, yeah, who like me were feeling a bit lost, suddenly can find their vocation, their calling in life, at a time when we need so many healers in the world. So that really became the shamanic practitioner and energy healers training course that I'm
Right.
running. Yeah. And then the other branch of what I run is about healing courses for places, because as I've also been learning about healing people, beside that, I've been learning about how to heal places, working with Feng Shui and space clearing and geomancy, how to bring harmony between people, spirit, and places. Um,
Mm.
so they're the two main flagship courses that I run now. Now that I'm my late 50s.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. And so what you just said that then about the space clearing for for locations, it's like the areas, isn't it? And the feng shui and geomancy, did you say?
Yeah.
What's that? Tell me about that.
So geomancy is land healing.
Okay.
So that's learning how to read um, the land
Yeah.
and being able to tune into the nature spirits, the spirits of place, and
Mm.
going to places generally where either the spirits of place are upset with people or people are getting upset by the spirits of the place. And being able to read those energies, tune into what's happened there, and to restore harmony through intention, through ceremony, through ritual, and through detecting where there can be healing points, very much like the body has chakras and meridians, so the land does, and finding out where are the healing points, what's needed to restore harmony to that place. So for me,
Amazing.
it's a really essential and beautiful part of being a feng shui consultant. Not
Mm.
only because feng shui is going to be looking at how to bring out the best potential of that building to support the people who want to live there or work there. So looking at the internal and external feng shui, there's
Mhm.
various schools of feng shui we can work with. And then space clearing is going to be a layer of detecting the predecessor chi. What is the energy that's been imprinted on a place by the people who've lived and worked there in the past? Their losses, their traumas, their patterns, their addictions, their conflicts. So being
Mhm.
able to, again, the essential part is being able to read that energy, to be able to
Mm.
sense the energy of what's happened there, to acknowledge it, because once you can truly acknowledge it, then you can transform it with creating a beautiful ceremony that works with sound, that works with smudging, that works with intention and different healing techniques to actually clear that energy, which produces a place that is singing with clarity, in which you can then infuse the intentions of the person and the dreams and the hopes and the needs of the people who are now living there, bringing it into the present moment and making it the most vibrant container for them to live and to work, that's really going to support them. So it's a clear space rather than living in the soup of the previous people's experiences, which can tend to
Mm.
affect people. So that's the way that I like to work with feng shui, space clearing, and geomancy, as a beautiful, harmonious trinity of a way of working. So we're looking at the land energies, the predecessor chi, and the arrangement, the alignment, and placement of everything to bring the whole thing into the most harmonious place possible.
Amazing, fascinating, totally fascinating. And so you can do that remotely. You don't need to actually just be there, or can you do it remotely? Can can you do that like for war zone areas and things like that? Like could you get like a group together and target places? Would it work like that as well? Could it?
Yes, I mean, I do absolutely believe in distant healings. I know it's quite a lot to get your head around. It all seems a bit Harry Potter, the idea of sitting there and connecting to a place that or a person that's not in the space where you are. But I've seen this working time and time again, which is why I feel confident and comfortable to teach it online.
Yeah.
So it became a necessity during the lockdowns. It was like, okay, we're going to need to somehow work out how to do this online so that we can continue. I still believe that for me, nothing beats doing it in person. I
Yeah,
love to be in
absolutely.
person with people.
Agree.
You know, and to actually be with someone, you know, that's absolutely the best option. However, we can't always be with each other in person. We've got to think about travel expenses and the time it takes to travel. So it is possible to do things and to do amazing work at a distance. And what
Mm.
I find does that is, having had lots of experience of doing it in person helps, you know. But I've taught, you know, healing and space clearing to people who haven't done it before, and I'm really amazed at how quickly people are getting it. And
Mm.
also, I've had previous graduates who've come to help in a group and gone, oh my God, look at this lot, they're amazing. And like realizing, you know, if people learn something that way, then they're just like, oh, okay, let's crack on.
Yeah.
And it can happen by simply opening up the space and setting that intention. Then all kinds of healing miracles happen. So it can happen. You just got to be, you know, a mixture of using skills like, you know, if it's a feng shui consultation, then I need the person to take me around their house, you know, giving me a WhatsApp video, as we're looking around the place in real time. So I'm getting to actually see the place as they're taking me around on a video.
Mm.
Send me photographs, send me pictures from Google Maps of the place, take a compass reading. You know, it's possible. But like I
Yeah,
said, it's always nice to go in person. Now,
for
when it
sure.
comes to doing a job for like a collective job to do on a war zone, then yeah, I think that there's a lot that can happen with the power of prayer and the
Yeah.
power of heartfelt intentions. Um, but we also have to be mindful of, you know, also of being invited, you know, because I always think you've got to be careful with good intentions, because, for example, we need to have somebody's permission to do a healing on another person. We need to have
Mm.
the whoever owns that piece of land for them to give permission for us to do a healing on that place. Otherwise, we're
Mm.
interfering ethically. That's something I would teach, that's not ethically correct to start wanting, you know, to send somebody healing if they haven't asked for it, you know. That's something we have to think about, you know, to be very careful with. But on the other hand, you know, if you were to hear of somebody like somebody you're very close to, and they were in an accident, they were in a coma, then of course I think it's okay to send them your love and send them lots of beautiful prayers for them to get well, be it to the highest good. And I always add in like a little kind of catchphrase of like something like, if they truly don't want to receive this, then please may that healing go either to somebody else in that hospital that does really want it, or may it go down into the earth, so that there is no possibility of it interfering with that person's free will,
Yeah.
or that person's destiny, you know.
Mm.
So we've got to be careful of not doing things if we're not invited. Yeah, when it comes to war zones, I guess if one person there was to say, please send prayers, please help us, then I would take that as being okay. Let's send them prayers. Let's all, you know, as people do, get together with prayers and see what they can send. And I think as long as you're saying, and you know, and if this is not for the highest good, let it go where it is wanted, then I don't see how that can do any harm.
Totally. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's studies to show now the power of prayer
Yeah.
and how, I mean, I live by it, you know, like I think it's just like incredibly powerful, and distant or in person, or, you know, like super powerful. And I was guided years ago actually for my prayers to always be in the name of unconditional love and for the good of all. And for that, and that's like the protection. And because quite often we can, exactly like you said, with the best of intentions, it will something for what we think looks like the best thing, but actually we can be causing harm.
Yes, exactly.
And so it's like to just eradicate that's absolutely, it's never going to cause harm, you know, like it's not a possibility. We're not open to that vibration. But yeah, amazing. Thank you.
I've heard of people actually being able to, by the power of prayer, being able to take an area of polluted water and changing the nature of that water to make it, drinkable, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Dr. Emoto, all of his
yeah,
work study is all about that, isn't it? With intention and
yes,
yeah, and there's an incredible podcast on the water about it being its own intelligence,
yeah.
not just that it's something that we can permeate with our intention, but actually it has its own. So it's just really beautiful. And the more we're becoming aware and waking up to these things, I'm just like, the sky's the limit. Like, feels really
Yes,
powerful times that we're in.
yeah.
Um, so with your courses, what would you like if someone was on the fence and they're like thinking, shall I, shan't I? Like, what is there anything that you'd say to them in particular?
Yeah, I think something that's really important, when it comes to the healer's course in particular is if somebody's feeling drawn to do it, they're feeling that attraction. It's drawing them. They're interested in it, and they're thinking, they're excited by it, and they're thinking, wow, this feels and sounds and looks like the right place for me. But then they get a feeling of like, oh, but am I good enough? Have I got the experience? Those kinds of, the ego can come in and think like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Have I got what it takes? Am I going to be skilled enough? Am I going to be intuitive enough? Then I would say, don't worry about any of those things. The only thing you've got to think about is if it excites you and it feels like the right course, then of course you've got to think about, uh, you know, financing it and putting aside a certain amount of time and energy to focus on it.
Mm.
But all of the other stuff, the stuff around, am I good enough? Will I have the skills? Just don't even worry about that, because I don't think you would be interested in it if you're not meant to be doing it.
Mhm.
And I think that from my own experience, I had such a high level of imposter syndrome and self-doubt and trust issues, because of trauma, finding it difficult to trust men, women, other people, trust my intuition, trust in spirit. It was just a massive block for me, that it took a long time for me to unravel that. But I see this happening with everybody on the course. Just about everybody. They will have their moments of imposter syndrome, and they'll be thinking on some level, oh, that, do I belong? Am I good enough? Can I get it? Everybody's bound to have those moments, shaky moments at some point, and it's just part of being the wounded healer, part of the
Mm.
fact that anybody who wants to be a facilitator of healing is bound to be carrying some wounds, and that can in some way mean that we question ourselves, we doubt ourselves. Now, in some ways it can be helpful because it can keep us humble, so we don't go into it with a level of arrogance of thinking we know it all and we've got it all and that kind of thing. But on the other hand, it can really get in the way, because it can bring us into our heads and our egos, because the ego can either be telling you you're better, or the ego could be telling you that you're inferior. So, and either way, the ego is only going to get in the way. And what happens every time, because I've been running this course for 10 years, what happens every time is that people have eventually something clicks and they realize they just need to get out of the way. They need that doubting, self-doubting, insecure part of them to just park. I would say park your process, do one, get out of the way, and then their healing ability will just naturally start to blossom. And
Yeah.
that's when the real healing happens. But it's so astonishing for me to see people who turn up, um, and they don't have, at first, they don't really have any idea of how to hold space, even, and, unless they've had experience before, and, where to put their hands, how to channel, how to, who their spirit guides are. They might not know any of that. And within the course of like a couple of months, a few sessions, a few modules, they're getting it. And then it's just amazing. And also what happens is they'll, at first, if they come to a masterclass retreat, they'll be looking at the advanced students and the graduates as like, wow, look at those amazing people who are really cool and they really know what they're doing. Wow, I wonder if I can be like that one day. And then the next masterclass, they are those people. And there's a whole group of newbies who are looking at them thinking, wow, I wonder if I'll ever be like that one day. And so it's an amazing process. And I always say to people, all you need to do is show up. Just keep showing up as yourself. Don't feel like you've got to come and you've got to put on airs and you've got to pretend to be something you're not. It's more about letting go of anything that's getting in the way, and just let the absolute beautiful healing space holding person that you are, let that person flourish, let that person grow. And and it's like a conveyor belt. People turn up and they come out the other end and they're amazing healers, and it just keeps on happening. It works. So just show up as you are, trust the process, and know that you just be honest, for people to just share about how you're honestly feeling when we do sharing circles. Because if you're feeling self-doubt, there'll be someone else and other people in the circle who are feeling just the same. 100%. So I always encourage people, and always have crew members like yourself who are going to be really authentic, because that helps everybody else to relax and think, oh, okay, great, I can just be authentic, I can just be myself.
Just be me.
So that's the main thing I want to communicate with people.
I want to talk to that a bit, because when you're referring to like the ego, and it can be, because a lot of people, I think in a mainstream sense, the ego is always thinking of it being something inflated and being egocentric and full of ourselves. But the complete flip side as well, when we have like a massive, the imposter syndrome, or we're not good enough, and we block ourselves, is equally the ego. It's exactly the same, isn't it? And so I'm just like reiterating that, because I know for some people they won't actually fully get that. And so just to know that when we're talking about the ego, we're talking about basically how I view it is like part of our human program of this life, and all the constructs that have been put on us that aren't necessarily anything to do with our essence and our truth. And our essence and our truth is where all the medicine and the healing is. And so it's about coming back into that place, and the authenticity and the being real in yourself. That is what speaks to me about you the most, because that knowing you in our tribe, knowing you around, and just feeling this real earthy, rooted, genuine, sincere earth mama vibe. And it just really makes my heart sing. I'm just really grateful to know you and love to work alongside you, like for that reason, it's been a yes for me to like crew with you, and because I'm just like, I feel I really feel the authenticity, and I feel like and it's a very safe space. And I've also recognized that as a person that has processed plenty of generational trauma, as well as my own personal, that it's so important that we are trauma informed in this work, and it's a frequency and an awareness, I believe, and I can hear it in how someone speaks, and I can, and it's so important, and I really feel that from you. And so for that sense, it's something else. And I actually think that that's something, as a brand new person to this world, that is looking into like healing or working with plants, or how important it is to be informed and to make sure that your teachers are trauma informed, and that they know what they're doing, because it potentially is a minefield, and it actually potentially, sorry to say, it's like the Wild West. It's, like there's so many out there self-proclaimed, that it's, it's really an initiation of the individual in following our intuition and making sure that we have crystal clear loving boundaries for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and if something feels like a no, it's a no. And there's not another, we don't need to have like an altercation with, you know, someone over it in the space or whatever. And yeah, honoring that and learning it. So yeah, I just felt like saying that just came out.
Thank you, Ruth. And yeah, it is so important. And I, always want to transmit and emphasize that to all of my all the students and participants, that for any healing to happen, people need to feel safe. And so, and then everybody can relax. So that safe container, safe for people to feel that they can be vulnerable and they can expose their wounds, because people carry fear, they carry shame, they carry guilt, they carry confusion, they carry grief. And so for somebody to be able to safely allow that to come up for healing, they need to feel that and know, and their body will sense it. And especially if they're working with plant teachers, everything is felt in the space. And so people need to feel that there really is a safe pair of hands holding them. That person is grounded, is present, and is compassionate and non-judgmental. And then a whole load of healing can happen. So it really is the fundamental. And of course, the healers need to feel that as well. So that's why it's so important, the container that myself and the team create, which is around authenticity and around safety and compassion and presence. And that becomes the container that holds people to go so deep.
Yeah.
And then, and that's how we then see these magical healing miracles and transformations happening, because people feel safe and they feel held. So it's absolutely fundamental. And to have an understanding, because of the traumas that I've been through and that I've healed in my life, and the team that I choose and, to be there that are trauma informed, then we can also, recognize when people are acting certain things out and how people can get triggered in certain situations, and how to help someone to come back to being present if they're disassociating. Like all of these things, are incredibly important. And that's what I wanted to get across to people, because of course, as we go out in the world, one day they're going to be a healer on their own with somebody, and they're going to need to have had this imprint and this transmission of how to create a self-container. So then they go out and they create exactly that container, and they've got not only the experience of giving and receiving healings in that way, but also and they've heard the ethics and they've got the ethics, but it's become part of their physiology, just the way that they move and the way that they work. It becomes part of their intelligence. So it's absolutely fundamental.
Yeah, thank you so much. Where will it lead, your trainings, the course?
Yeah, so we get people who want to become space holders in ceremonies and retreats. So it's really ideal for helping people to get the skills to know how to become a space holder in ceremony and in different holistic healing retreats. So it's going to give people a really good education and qualification for that. And it's also obviously going to be really great for people who want to be holistic therapists and shamanic practitioners and healers and energy healers out in the world, because it's an accredited training. So it's accredited by the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine, which means you can practice that anywhere in the world. And so it's accredited in that way.
That's great.
You can get insurance because it's accredited qualification. And some people are doing it because it's helping them in another work. So perhaps they work as a counsellor, and they say that because they now have this whole energy healing, shamanic, and trauma informed, training, it's feeding into the way they hold space for people. And for other people, it's something that really is giving them the confidence to be able to bring that healing to their family, to their children, to their immediate community. their friendship circle, and they're feeling that it's amazing because they've got the skills now to be able to really hold people through experiences of grief or of bullying or whatever's going on in their lives. And for other people, it's something that they want to take out there as as a practitioner, and that's their main vocation. And we also share practical things, the things we've learned about how to get yourself out there, in terms of running a business as a practitioner. Practical things like that for people who this is becoming, an income stream for them, like the things that we found to be important that can help you on that path. So to help speed that journey up, because it's a long time learning it on on your own, and so that anything that myself or the team can share about what we've learned can help you. Social media and different ways, different platforms and tools, online tools and stuff. So we also share those things. So yeah, either people wanting to help their immediate family and community, for it to feed in and benefit another main career they do, or for it to become their main job and their main vocation in life, that they're putting themselves out there as shamanic practitioners and energy healers, or space holders working at retreats and ceremonies.
Okay, lovely, thank you. So just to reiterate that there is no previous experience needed.
Absolutely. People can come as a complete beginner, or other people can come and maybe they've already done some Reiki, they've already worked with healing in some way, or they're an acupuncturist, or they're a massage therapist. So they might have some experience, or they could have absolutely none. Or other times we get people they've been to a ceremony and they're starting to receive intuitive guidance that they're meant to become a healer themselves, a space holder themselves, and they're looking for a training that's going to give them the alignment and the methods to be able to channel that intuitive ability through in a very useful, safe and professional way.
Amazing, wonderful. Thank you, Sue. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, what can I share? I suppose in this moment in time, there is the in-person training is now available, which I'm running this May the 20th at Osho Lila in Dorset, in a beautiful new yurt on the land. So that's a lovely opportunity for people who really want to come and train in person. And that's there's 12 modules divided into 4 levels. So 2 levels a year. So there's one in May and there's one in November each year. So and you can come along and do one level, see how you get on, and decide. You can do the other levels in any order if you want to. So that's a great opportunity for people who want to come and train to be a shamanic practitioner and energy healer on this accredited training. Amazing. And then for people who live far away or who can't make it to the in-person training, there is a fully online course, and that's where we do 1 module per month. So it's a kind of fast track through the modules. So that's also an option. And I'm also opening up an evergreen option for somebody who wants to do it self-paced, and they want to go through the modules in their own pace.
Excellent.
And it's the same syllabus. It's the same syllabus for all of the options. So you still got to cover all of the assignments, all of the practicals, but there's just different ways to suit different people's lifestyles and how they like to train.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and for people who want to do the space clearing, feng shui, and geomancy training, myself and Davina McHale have come together as a beautiful collaboration. We've both got a collective 60 years of experience between us. So anybody signing up to that training is going to get the benefit of both of our experience that we're going to be sharing with everybody. And that's starting this October with a 2-week immersion training in Welshpool, and then a 1-year container of online support whilst you get your case studies done for your accredited certification. So that's Sacred Space Alchemy this October.
Amazing. Thank you, my love. That all sounds really exciting. So basically, if you're watching this and you have any sort of like intrigue, you feel a bit excited about it, get in contact with Sue. And where will your details be? Where can they find you? Probably in the comments of this video or something.
Yes, so I'll drop in the comments below. There'll be the link tree that has a link to everything that I'm up to, and then there'll be the Academy of Modern Shamanism is on Instagram or Facebook that's specifically about the training courses. You can also find me as Firehorse and firehorse.uk on Instagram, which is about me and the one-to-one work that I do. And there's also the KundaliniRoseGarden.org, which is an amazing a dream, which is a vision, which is coming to life with various collaborations, of working in collaborations with different compatible friends and facilitators. So that's something you might also want to have a look at to see what these different collaborations are that are building towards creating an actual healing centre on the land in Portugal.
Wonderful. Lovely. Thank you so much for your time. It's been really lovely to see you.
Thank you so much, Ruth. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. And thank you so much for seeing me and giving me this opportunity, and for also being part of the team. I really honour and I'm so grateful for everything that you bring when we work together. I love you. Thank you.
I love you, and thank you for your everything. I love your walk. I love your talk. Yeah, really grateful to know you and that you're doing what you're doing right now.
Thank you.
Send you lots of love, darling. Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you. Bye for now.
Bye.